Imagine the scene. The entire world is betting big on electric. EVs are the future, period. Then, out of nowhere, Mazda's CEO drops a bombshell. He claims their new rotary engine will shake the entire EV industry to its core. You can almost feel the static in the air. Just hearing the name rotary conjures images of raw power, high revving speed, and pure innovation. Now, Mazda is claiming this reborn engine is more robust, more economical, and more powerful than an EV. Just like that, the industry that looked invincible suddenly has a new challenger. This isn't just an engine, Mazda is positioning it as a revolution, a move that could change the entire automotive game. Think about it. We still haven't solved the biggest EV headaches. The anxiety over charging stations, the sky-high cost of batteries, and the constant worry about real-world range. While that tension hangs in the air, Mazda is placing its full faith in the rotary. So, the question is, will this comeback truly shake the future of electric cars? Or will the EV giants simply find a new way to crush this challenger? What is this technology, and why is it causing all this commotion? We're about to dive in, but before we do, make sure you subscribe to Dravexa. You won't want to miss a single second of this. When you think car engine, you almost certainly picture a piston engine. You know the one. Cylinders, pistons pumping up and down, creating power through brute force. But in the world of cars, one engine came along and shattered that tradition. Its name, the rotary. And if you're talking about the rotary, you are talking about Mazda. This is the company that took a radical idea, gave it a new identity, and proved to the world that cars were not limited to just pistons. This story starts back in the 1950s. It's also called the Wankel engine, named after its German designer, Felix Wankel. It looks simple, but its method is pure genius. There are no pistons slamming up and down, no heavy, complex parts. Instead, at its heart is a single triangular rotor that just spins. It rotates round and round, generating power in one smooth, continuous motion. Mazda didn't just adopt this engine, they gave it a soul. Through the 70s and 80s, they unleashed it in their sports cars. You know the names, the legendary RX-7, the later RX-8. These cars didn't just use the engine, they gave it an iconic identity. To this day, the RX-7 remains a cult classic, a dream car for anyone who loves to drive. Its slick design, lightweight body, and that sound, it was a perfect storm. So what made it so different? First, the smoothness. A piston engine jerks up and down. A rotary just spins. You press the accelerator, and the power is instant, seamless, and perfectly smooth, letting it rev to the sky. Second, its size. A tiny rotary engine could produce the same power as a massive piston engine. This meant that Mazda's RX cars were unbelievably light, perfectly balanced, and wickedly fast through the corners. But the third feature, that was the magic, the sound. It's not a rumble, it's a high-pitched, clean, sporty howl that made car lovers absolutely crazy. Many will tell you the real joy of an RX-8 is hidden right inside that unique sound. It's why, even today, when an RX-7 enters a car meet, every single head turns. But this magic came at a price. There were serious challenges. The biggest problem? Fuel efficiency. The rotary gave you tremendous power, but it drank gasoline like nothing else. The second was reliability. Those famous apex seals could wear out, and maintenance was an expensive nightmare. And the final nail in the coffin, emissions, that pollution. As the world demanded cleaner cars, the rotary simply couldn't keep up. It was left behind. Other companies gave up, and finally, after the RX-8, Mazda did too. The legend was dead. Or was it? The story didn't end. In the world of car culture, the rotary became a superstar. Especially in the Japanese tuning community, the RX-7 is still treated as a god. People hunt for them, modify them, strap on massive turbos, and prove, on the track, that a legend never truly dies. Mazda knew this. They never really said goodbye. In 2023, they gave us a hint. They launched the MX-30, a hybrid. And what was hiding inside? A tiny rotary, used as a range extender. It didn't power the wheels, it just spun quietly to charge the battery when it ran low. This was Mazda's signal. The rotary isn't just heritage, it's their future. Which brings us to today. The engine that everyone considered old news is back. Mazda has revived it, claiming it's smarter, more powerful, and more economical than ever before. So what new technology is packed inside? What's the secret that makes Mazda confident it can take on the entire EV industry? If you're enjoying this automotive mystery, do us a favor and hit that like button for Dravexa. Let's get right into the new tech. This time, Mazda didn't just bring the rotary back, they made it smart. They've linked it into a hybrid and range extender system. Get this, the engine's primary job isn't even to power the wheels. Instead, it spins smoothly to charge the battery, which then powers the car. This is a genius move for two reasons. First, the engine is never under heavy pressure. Second, the car's range just keeps going. Mazda looked at the EV industry's single greatest weakness, range anxiety, and attacked it head-on. It also solves the rotary's oldest demons. This new engine is incredibly small and light, far more compact than a piston equivalent. Mazda has packed it with high-efficiency fuel injection and modern cooling. This means it produces more power while burning less petrol. The biggest complaint that killed the old RX-8, its thirst for fuel, has been totally re-engineered. Then there's the biggest factor, the one an EV can't touch, the feel. A rotary engine, by design, has no pistons jumping up and down. That means zero vibration. It's perfectly smooth, all the way to a screamingly high RPM. Now, you might think EVs are smooth too, and you're right, but they're silent. They're missing the thrill. They're missing the sound. They're missing the adrenaline rush. Mazda is claiming this new rotary will give you the spine-tingling excitement of a real sports car. If you're excited about this, show some love for Dravexa and hit that like button. Now, let's talk economics. What's the biggest problem with EVs? The battery. It's the single most expensive part, making up almost 40% of the car's total cost. These batteries are not only expensive, they are unbelievably heavy. And you still can't find a charging station everywhere. In this chaos, Mazda's rotary looks like a perfectly balanced solution. The engine itself is small, it's cheap to manufacture, and it isn't a priceless brick of lithium. Mazda is essentially saying their cars will be cheaper than an EV and far more comfortable to live with. But what about the pollution? The old rotary was famously dirty. Mazda says they've solved that too. They've installed a new catalytic converter and a high-tech, clean burning system. This engine is no longer the polluting beast of the past. It's been made cleaner and greener. And here's the final fascinating twist. Mazda says this new engine is coming with fuel flexibility. That means it's not just limited to petrol. It's being designed to run on biofuel or even synthetic fuel. If they pull this off, it creates a massive new tension for the EV market. It means this engine isn't just a temporary fix, it's compatible with the fuels of the future. So now you have to ask yourself, when a tiny engine can promise massive range, more power, and more fun, all at a lower cost, will people keep running toward EVs, or will they come back to Mazda? This is precisely why the company is so confident. Mazda is betting that the biggest questions in the EV world, battery life, charging time, and infrastructure, are still fundamentally broken, and they claimed their new rotary engine gets rid of all those hassles in one clean shot. Then there's the driving experience. The rotary has always been a symbol of pure driving. Cars like the RX-7 and RX-8 made you feel something. They proved that a car isn't just a machine to get from A to B, it's a passion. Mazda is promising this new rotary will carry that exact legacy, giving you the real mechanical fun of driving that many silent, battery-powered cars simply cannot. This move seems brilliant when you look at the real challenges the EV industry is facing right now. We are told everywhere that electric is the future. Governments are pushing it, companies are launching endless new models, and every ad says it's the smartest decision. But the ground reality? It's a little different. there are massive challenges that make people think twice. The first and biggest is the charging infrastructure. Just think about it. You can find a petrol pump on literally every street corner. But EV charging stations? In big cities? Facilities have improved. But in small towns or villages, the situation is dire. People are terrified of the battery running out in the middle of the road. That fear of finding a charger makes EVs completely unreliable for long journeys. The second is the staggering cost of the battery. The most expensive part of any EV is its battery, making up about 40% of the car's total price. If that battery gets damaged or just dies of old age, the replacement cost is a crushing burden on your pocket. It's a financial time bomb, and that's why so many people are afraid to buy in. And that leads to the biggest psychological barrier of all: range anxiety. The companies can claim 400 or 500 kilometers all they want, but in the real world, you run the air conditioner, you get stuck in traffic, or the weather gets cold, and you watch that battery percentage just melt away. It's the constant fear that your billion-dollar tech car might just stop. This is the EV industry's greatest weakness, and if you think Mazda is smart to attack it, subscribe to Dravexa so you don't miss what happens next.
When you go to buy a new car, you're not just buying metal and glass. You're buying comfort. You're buying the trust that it will take you anywhere you want to go without bothering you. For EVs, that fundamental trust, it just hasn't been built. You hear the same hesitant phrase everywhere. Okay, EV's good, but I'll wait until the charging stations are everywhere. And then there's the time. You fill a petrol car in 5 minutes, maximum. But charging an EV? You're stuck there for 30 minutes or maybe several hours. If you travel long distances every day, this isn't an inconvenience, it's a complete deal breaker. Yes, the super fast chargers are coming, but they are still incredibly rare, and they are not cheap. The headaches don't stop there. What about maintenance? This technology is brand new. Your local trusted mechanic has no idea how to repair it. If anything goes wrong with that battery or motor, you have no choice. You must go directly to the company's main service center, and you will pay their high prices. This makes customers pause. And finally, the elephant in the room: resale value. You ask yourself, if I buy this expensive EV today, will I get a good price for it in 5 years? The biggest problem is battery degradation. It's a fact. As the battery gets older, its capacity shrinks. The range drops. And the next buyer knows they'll be stuck paying to replace it, so they simply aren't willing to pay you. The challenges for EVs are clear, and they exist on 3 levels. First, a lack of infrastructure. Second, a price tension that never goes away. And third, a deep lack of consumer trust. This is why people are still hesitant. They're waiting to see if the technology and the network can actually improve. EV companies are trying to find solutions. They're building chargers. Battery prices are slowly coming down, but all of this will take time. And this is the window. This is the opening where Mazda is pushing its new rotary engine. Because until all the challenges of pure EVs are completely solved, people will definitely look for another solution. So what was the reaction from the global auto industry? When Mazda's CEO made that statement, the entire automobile world was stirred up. This wasn't just the confidence of one company, it was a direct challenge to the giants who are ruling the EV market today. First, you have to talk about Tesla. Tesla is the king. Elon Musk proved to the world that electric cars weren't just an experiment, they could be a real, massive business. But Tesla's greatest strength isn't just the car, it's the ecosystem. The battery technology, the charging network, the software. Mazda's rotary engine doesn't shake that ecosystem, but it does something smarter. It gives customers a powerful new option. If people start thinking, wait, I can have a long-range car without a charging station, without battery tension, then Tesla's monopoly on the future is suddenly in question. The biggest danger for Tesla is that this move from Mazda might attract every single customer who was thinking about buying an EV but was still confused and hesitant. And if you want to see how this fight plays out, make sure you're subscribed to Dravexa. Then you have BYD, the other giant. This Chinese company is arguably the biggest force in the EV market right now. They don't just make the cars, they are the world's #1 in batteries. Their entire game plan? Low prices and long range. But here's the catch. Mazda's rotary could be a massive hindrance. Why? Because Mazda is making the exact same promise, cheaper and more economical. If Mazda actually delivers, BYD's whole strategy of affordable EVs gets hit hard. This is a huge warning bell for a company built on that one single advantage.
Now, look over at the legacy giants, Toyota and Honda. You know they're both lagging in the pure EV race. Toyota is still betting the farm on hybrid technology. Honda is just slowly dipping its toes into the EV world. For them, Mazda's rotary isn't a threat, it's relief. It's a backup plan. Because if Tesla and BYD don't take over the entire planet, companies like Toyota and Honda suddenly have a path to survive. Toyota has been saying it for years. EV is not the only future. They're working on hydrogen. They're working on new hybrids. Mazda's move just proves their belief. It makes them look smart for not going all in. Honda, always the innovator, might just be inspired. This could be the spark they need to reinvent their own hybrid engines, to create something new that can compete. But the real drama? It's in Europe. You look at BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. They are all in. They've bet everything on pure EV. But this move from Mazda, it's going to force them to think. They know their own charging infrastructure is still a mess. They know battery prices are sky high. If Mazda launches this rotary in Europe, offering massive range at a low price, the entire German strategy might have to change. You see what's happening. This one statement from Mazda is a wake-up call for the entire global auto industry. For giants like Tesla and BYD, it's a direct threat. For companies like Toyota and Honda, it's a massive opportunity. The Europeans, they're just watching, waiting. But you can bet if Mazda succeeds, those old engine projects are coming right back. It's a high-stakes game, and if you want to see who wins, hit that subscribe button for Dravexa. This all leads back to Mazda's confidence. You have to wonder, how can they be so sure when the whole world is screaming EV? It's simple. They are surprisingly confident because they believe the biggest weaknesses of the EV revolution, the expensive batteries, the incomplete charging network, the constant range anxiety, are still completely unsolved. Mazda is stepping into that chaos and pitching its rotary as the one solution that solves all those problems at once. It's small, it's economical, and it gives you endless range with zero battery tension. Mazda is banking on its heritage. This isn't just engineering. The rotary is their identity. You remember the RX-7 and RX-8? They were proof that Mazda simply thinks differently. Now, they're betting this new high-efficiency engine will win hearts all over again. Their confidence is supercharged by a loyal global fan base, a cult that never forgot the unique sound and raw performance of a true rotary. Mazda's strategy is crystal clear. They're not trying to jump into a race they can't win. They know Tesla and BYD are light years ahead in the pure EV game. So what do? They change the rules. They've decided, okay, EVs are your strength, but we're going to attack your weaknesses. It's a shockingly smart move, and it makes them stand out completely. Their future plan is simple. Focus on hybrids and range extenders. You get a battery, and you get that brilliant new rotary. This is the ultimate best of both worlds. You get the clean, zippy feel of an EV, but with the rock-solid, reliable performance of an engine. This means you never have to think about a charging station. Your range anxiety is gone. And the best part? Mazda is aiming for the affordable segment. You know EVs are expensive. If Mazda can launch a rotary car at a low price, they'll attract every single person who wants to buy new tech but is completely locked out by the EV budget. The company has an even bigger plan: global diversity. Mazda knows not every country is ready to go all in on EVs. You see Europe and China racing ahead, but what about markets like India, Southeast Asia, or Africa? The charging infrastructure just isn't there. For these countries, Mazda's rotary is the perfect solution. It means Mazda can swoop in and strengthen its hold in massive markets where a pure EV is still just a fantasy. But the most critical aspect is Mazda's long-term vision. This engine isn't just built for the petrol of today, it's being prepared for biofuel and synthetic fuel. Think about that. In 10 or 15 years, when these new fuels become mainstream, the rotary will be ready to support them. This isn't a short-term trick, it's a strategy that gives Mazda a chance to play the long game. This confidence is also about branding. Mazda is presenting this engine not just as technology, but as their identity. Think about it. When you hear EV, you think Tesla. Mazda wants to own the rotary. They want the two names to be synonymous. This isn't just about tech, it's a marketing masterpiece. And if you think it's a smart one, hit that like button for Dravexa.
So, let's look at this from your perspective. What's the real benefit for a normal car buyer? The first and biggest is the price. You know how high EV prices are. You're paying for that battery, and it makes the car's cost skyrocket. Mazda is claiming their new rotary is so compact, so light, and so cheap to manufacture that their cars will be significantly cheaper than an electric vehicle. This is their promise to you: a reliable, fun car without the charging hassle and without the crippling price tag. Then you get the biggest win: mileage and pure convenience. You know that single biggest fear of every EV owner? Range anxiety. That constant nagging worry in the back of your mind that your car will just stop? With the rotary engine, that fear is eliminated. It's gone. You just fill it up with petrol or even biofuel, and you travel long distances with zero tension. And this isn't the rotary of the past. Mazda has engineered this engine to be highly efficient, giving you more power while sipping, not gulping fuel. And what about long-term use? This is the other financial time bomb for EVs: battery life. You know that after 6 to 8 years, that expensive battery starts to degrade, its capacity drops, and replacing it costs a fortune. It's the #1 reason people hesitate. With a rotary, that tension just isn't there. Yes, an engine needs to be serviced, but that cost is a tiny fraction of replacing a massive battery. In the long run, Mazda is betting this will be far lighter on your pocket. But more than all that, you get the fun. EVs are smooth, but they're silent. They're missing that sporty, mechanical feeling. They're missing the soul. The sound of a rotary engine, its instant response, its smooth power delivery, that is what makes driving exciting. It's for customers who buy a car not just for convenience, but for passion. This engine isn't just icing on the cake, it's the entire reason to buy it. Now, we have to talk about the environment. This is the biggest question. The whole world is moving to green energy, so where does a combustion engine fit? Mazda claims they've made this engine cleaner and more efficient than ever, with advanced catalytic converters and a new clean burning system. They also say this engine won't be limited to just petrol. It's being prepared to run on biofuel and synthetic fuel. If this happens, it suddenly becomes a much more environmentally friendly option, especially when you consider the massive pollution and mining problems that come from manufacturing EV batteries.
EVs are not as clean as they're shown to be. But let's be honest, no matter how efficient, a rotary still burns fuel. Carbon emissions are not completely eliminated. The biggest plus of an EV is that it has zero tailpipe emissions, period. So many will say this is just a marketing strategy from Mazda. But you have to accept, if this engine can truly run on clean synthetic fuel, it could become a very strong alternative to the EV. So, now we're left with the biggest question. Will Mazda really shake up the EV industry? Will this new rotary engine pull people away from electric and change the game for the entire automobile world? Or will the big companies like Tesla and BYD just find a solution to this challenge and maintain their hold? The truth is, only time will tell who wins. The old but new power of the rotary engine, or the fast-growing revolution of the EV. But one thing is absolutely certain, the world of automobiles is about to get even more exciting. And yes, before you leave, do tell us in the comments what you think the future is. And don't forget to subscribe to Dravexa so you can be the first to see such amazing updates.